It was a dark and rainy night. A lovely young woman was home alone when suddenly she heard a knock at the door. Do you want to hear an even scarier story? Well, let's talk about one that we live almost on a day-to-day basis. It's when you have a beautiful life, but you'll specifically find the smallest to largest things to be dissatisfied about. On my journey, it was about a year and a half ago when I was driving the BMW. I had every electronic you could possibly dream of having. My house was finally a home. I had more money at that point in my life than I had the previous years. And every day I was still waking up miserable, because you can have everything you want in life and still feel empty. Let's talk today about how I shifted out of that. Just waking up day after day in misery and confusion. I said enough. I YouTubed what to do when you're dissatisfied. So simple. Anyone can do it. A few different speeches popped up and I decided to click on one. Long story short, got to the end, it recommended daily gratitude practices, journaling or having a gratitude journal. It's something that I was familiar with, and not only familiar with, but I had previously practiced. And I lost touch with that. And we tend to do that. When we're in the thick of things, we lose touch with what we know to do. You know what to do, you just don't do it. I ordered that gratitude journal and I got back into it. That was just one of the small fixes that I got back into a year and a half ago. We get stuck on these little key points that we let snowball out of control and thus add to our dissatisfaction. We just want excuses to validate why we should have bad days or feel dissatisfied or disappointment in life. Again, I've come across a few perspectives. I was on a walk and I was complimenting this man's home. I mean, his house was my favorite house on the block. He's outside and he's tending to his yard. And I'm just marveling at his home. And I stop, I say, wow, what a beautiful home you have. And he's just flat out says, it's a lot of work. I mean, truly, I can't even see in his face or in his eyes or in the way he speaks that he even appreciates his home in the least bit. And yet, as an outsider looking in, I'm marveling at what he has. One man's trash is another man's treasure. For every complaint you have, there is a standpoint of appreciation. When you do find yourself shifting into dissatisfaction, really take that time, get intentional with your thoughts. Write a list. Write out what you're fearing, what you're doubting, what you have worry surrounded around. Anything that's not serving me, I put on this list and I burn. This is telling your mind, body, soul, I'm releasing it. It's time to let it go, because filling it with all of this dissatisfaction is only going to bring you more dissatisfaction. Make a list, burn the list. So simple, free practice. Journaling, free practice. Meditation, getting quiet, getting silent, being still, free practice. These are things that are free and we know how to do. And if you're really willing and ready to take a step up from that, get a therapist. Talk it through with someone besides your friends who has an unbiased standpoint on your life, who is trained in these fields. Go to a church group, see a pastor. Those are a dime a dozen. Males specifically encourage you to find a men's group. They're out there, and I don't mean just AA. If there is no men's group, start one. maybe the same holds true for women. The second that I took the time to invest in myself, that's when my life really started to level up. And I just think it's funny. We spend money on alcohol, we spend money on substances, we spend money on trash food, all of these things that go to waste. But when it's time to really invest in ourselves, that's when we hesitate. There's the problem. You have the solutions. I love you.